You're listening to the Female Entrepreneurs Network podcast, and in today's episode, we're going to go all in on setting yourself up for financial confidence, an absolute must-have for the CEO mindset we're creating. To many entrepreneurs, finances feel icky or like something the accountant is taking care of, and while yes, your accountant should do that, you should also feel confident with your own finances. So let's kick it off. Hi, I'm Ayla, and for over a decade, I've been dedicated to helping entrepreneurs thrive. Welcome to the Female Entrepreneurs Network podcast. Here, we focus on personal growth so your business can grow alongside you. Discover how to optimize your business, elevate your mindset, and truly feel and act like a CEO. This is more than just business. It's about transforming your entire entrepreneurial journey. Join me on this path to unlock your fullest potential. Guess what? You've arrived right on time. Today we have an awesome episode about ways to set yourself up for financial confidence without being good with numbers. Because let's be honest, finances and numbers can be intimidating as hell, especially if you're not a math whiz like I am. But here's the good news. You don't need to be a financial expert to feel confident about your finances and to run a successful business. So in this episode, we'll dive into practical strategies and tips that you can apply to boost your financial confidence without needing to be a numbers genius. We'll discuss some simple ways to organize your finances, smart tools you can use, and how to make financial decisions with confidence. So grab a cup of coffee, get comfy, and let's start building your financial confidence. Tip numero uno that I have for you is very simple and yet very hard to do for many people out there. It is get up close and intimate with your finances. No more ostrich syndrome, where you put your head in the sand. I think that actually the opposite of ostrich syndrome is meerkat syndrome, where you just all stand on your tippy toes and watch the desert for snakes. So we're going to be behaving like meerkats here. And you're going to get up close with your finances because getting your nose into them on a regular basis is going to build the confidence that you want to have when it comes to your finances. You want to know what everything means. You want to know what changes. You want to know what goes out, what goes in. I know many people don't like to do this because they're afraid of the results. They're afraid of the costs they're making. There's just this anxiety about finances, about numbers, that is just not feeling great for them. And so instead of being a meerkat, they're being an ostrich about it and not doing anything with their finances. I currently have a client for my one-on-one what am I calling this? One-on-one things that I do. And they have a history with being heavily in debt. Even though their business right now is going amazing, they're doing really well, they just keep coming back to the feeling that they don't want to look at their finances because they have this history with it, that it's not going to be great to look at it. So this anxiety just keeps holding on. So I advise them as well. The same thing I'm advising you right now is to have a moment set apart each week, each month, bi-weekly. I don't care. It depends on your business. If you have a very busy business with lots of financial transactions going on, like the client I'm working with has, amongst other things, they have a web shop that's running really well. There are a lot of things happening, money going in and out on a daily basis. So for them, I said, set apart a weekly moment. If you are just working with clients one-on-one and sending invoices one time a month, I actually think it's better to just do it once a month because otherwise you're just going to look at it and say, oh, nothing has changed. And this is the last time I've been in here. It matters not how often you do it, but that you do it. Schedule it in your calendar and actually make a habit out of. This is a moment you're going to block in your calendar is what I'm trying to say. Now, there is a very important distinction between having a finance date with your money, with your system, and actually doing the work itself. Don't confuse the two. If you can, outsource your finances immediately because it's boring and it's probably keeping you from the work that you're doing to actually generate money. Hire a VA immediately to do the physical part of the finances for you, but what I'm talking about right now is to create a moment where you dive into your numbers in the system. So I'm not saying spend a moment each week to put your receipts into your system, send invoices, follow up with it, etc. No, outsource that if you can. What I am talking about is taking a moment each week to actually see what's going on with those numbers without having to do the physical work. And in order for you to do this, it's very important. This is like tip 1.2. And I think you have it. Because if not, how are you running your business? I don't know. The tip is very, very basic. Set up a system where you can easily see what's coming in and what's going out. And I don't care if this is a paid system or if it's an Excel sheet. You need it for your taxes, so you probably already have it. But set up a system and use it consistently. Keep your receipts. Create a specific inbox in your email where your invoices end up in. Set up a rule that automatically forwards your invoices to your financial software. Keep your stuff in one place. And so when it's time for your money date, you have everything on hand. You don't have to waste your time trying to figure out where everything is. And if you want to see what's coming in and what's going out, that you need to look it up first. Have a system, set up a system, and use it. Okay, on to tip number 2. To level up your financial confidence. It is determine your value and act on it as well. What's your hourly rate? Who can you hire? Can your clients afford you too easily? AKA, are you too busy? It's something very important to determine your own value and to act on it as well. Knowing your worth is absolutely crucial. It's not just for your self-esteem, of course, although it helps, but it also really is important for the financial health of your business. So, how do we figure out our value and make sure that we act on it effectively? First, let's talk about your hourly rate. This is, of course, a fundamental aspect of understanding your own value. To calculate this in the most absolute freaking basic way is consider the total amount of income that you want to make in a year and divide that by the numbers of hours that you're planning to work. For example, if you want to make $100,000 a year and you plan to work 2,000 hours, your hourly rate should be $50. As I said, this is like the most basic of basicnesses because I'm not taking into account any costs that you're making for stuff like insurance, or maybe you're renting a space, or, it's stuff like that. In an ideal world, you would take all those things into account in order for you to consider what your hourly rate would be. For just the sake of clarity and brevity here, I'm just going to say, okay, divide your desired income by the amounts of hours you want to work, and then that's your hourly rate. That's at least that's like the basic what it should be. But, it's also not take your costs into account. I know, sorry, it's a tangent. I could do an entire episode on calculating your hourly rate, but that's not what I wanted to do here. Once you know your hourly rate, so let's say it's $50, it's time for you to evaluate your tasks. Are you spending your valuable time on activities that could be outsourced? And think about this honestly, please. If your hourly rate is $50, but you're spending time on tasks that could be outsourced for $20 an hour, you are not using your time efficiently. Look at the tasks that consume your time and determine which ones you can delegate to others. This frees up your time to focus on higher value activities that directly contribute to your business growth. It seems so simple, and yet there are many, many, many people out there who think that they don't need to outsource stuff. Even if your hourly rate is 50 euros, dollars, I'm in the Eurozone, and you're outsourcing a task to someone who also costs 50 euros an hour, you're breaking even, and yet you're not, because that hour that you're outsourcing, you can use on something that can generate income for you. If this is something that needs to land in your brain, let it land. And if you're already with me, then come on to the next step, which is consider who you can hire. Because I am talking about outsourcing, and outsourcing doesn't necessarily mean that you need a full-time employee, fixed in service contracts and everything. There are many ways of outsourcing. You can hire a virtual assistant, there are freelancers you can hire part-time help. All those things can be game changers for your productivity. By outsourcing tasks, you can focus on strategic decisions and client interactions that only you can handle. For example, if administrative tasks are taking up too much of your time, hire a virtual assistant to take those off your plate. This allows you to dedicate more time to higher paying, higher impact activities. I think this makes sense, and I hope it does. For me and for clients that I work with, it always helps to just write it down, write it out, put it in an Excel. I love Excels. You can see the financial sacrifices that you're making by not outsourcing stuff, even if it's just for 1 hour a month. I actually, in my past as a virtual assistant in finances, this is why I know so much about this specifically, I've had clients for whom I worked 1 hour a month. And that was fine for me. I had a client, 1 hour a month. That's nice. Doesn't take much of my time, an hour, obviously. And it helps them enormously. So this is something that a lot of people struggle with when you talk about outsourcing. People immediately think that they need to hire someone big time, big hours, etc. Doesn't have to be like that. All right. Let's talk about your clients because they play an important role as well. Are your clients able to afford your services too easily? And this is very easy to determine. If you find yourself constantly overbooked, overwhelmed, overworked, it might be a sign that your rates are too low. And while it's really great to have a full roster of clients, being too busy can be counterproductive. It leads to burnout, it leads to lesser quality of the work that you deliver. If your services are in high demand, it might be time to raise your rates. This is actually something that I learned from someone who we'll talk about a bit later in this episode. She does this consistently. And at one point, it was such a mind blower for me. She had a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of people reach out to her to just say, hey, would you go on a coffee date with me? Can I just pick your brain for like an hour? And she would just go, yeah, sure, that's €1,000, please. And people were appalled by that, like absolutely appalled. And she was like, why? I'm doing a one-on-one coaching thing. You're taking up an hour of my time. My hourly rate is €1,000. So there you go. And still she had people booking them with her. And that means that there is a demand for it. There are people who think it's valuable enough to pay for it so she can ask it. Imagine if she would have said it's €100. She would have had 10 times the amount of people that wanted to do this with her, and she would just be going on coffee dates all day long and not working on her own business anymore. So this is why this is such an important thing. You don't just look at the super basic hourly rate calculator I just gave you. You also see what your clients are doing. Are you maybe too cheap for your clients? It will help you manage your workload, but it will also it reflects your growing expertise and the value that you bring to your clients as well. That in turn also results in higher prices. So, well, there you go. It's a circle. Okay, summarize this point. You determine your hourly rate, you outsource tasks that don't require your unique skills, and you make sure your pricing accurately reflects your value and demand. Please remember that knowing and acting on your value is absolute key to building your financial confidence and the success of your business as well. All right, tip number 3 that I have for you today is to actively work towards financial goals. And also, I know it sounds like a no-brainer, and yet it's something I see so many entrepreneurs struggle with. They sort of put out a goal for themselves and then they deviate, their costs coming in that they didn't expect, and something very important, they're not having any fun. And that's key to having your own business, is to have fun with it as well. So, if working towards your financial goal is just taking the fun out of it, then what's the point of the goal? It's one thing to have goals in mind, but it's another thing to take consistent action towards achieving them as well. One effective strategy for this is to use the profit first method. I've used this method for many, many years. I want to say like a decade maybe. And I've helped many entrepreneurs to set it up within their business as well. I've never heard anyone say, oh, this system sucks. But you got to set it up and you got to keep to it. By now, I'm less strict than I used to be. It basically boils down to creating different, the Dutch word for it is potjes, and it's such a cute word. Let's say piggy banks. You're going to create separate piggy banks or accounts for different financial purposes. It basically means that you're going to set up multiple bank accounts, preferably sub-accounts, like you have your bank and you can hopefully set up sub-accounts. And in these sub-accounts, you're going to allocate a percentage of your income for specific goals. And you're going to do this consistently each time money comes in. These accounts, sub-accounts, can include savings, retirement, investments, and profit. Profit first. By having designated accounts for these, you can ensure that each aspect of your financial health is being attended to regularly without it costing you brain space each time you want to look at your finances. So an example is that you receive a payment from a client, and instead of putting all that money into just one account and let it sit there and let costs get out of it and taxes and, you're going to divide it up into designated accounts. You might allocate 50% of the money to operating expenses, 20% to savings, 15% to taxes, 10% to profit, and 5% towards investments. If you do it this way, you're consistently contributing to each financial goal that you have with every income that you receive. This also means that doing your taxes is not gonna put you in front of super big surprises because you already have a piggy bank specifically dedicated to your taxes. I just wanted to quickly talk about a few different sub-accounts. One of the key accounts should be your savings. This is your safety net, the buffer that can protect you in case of any unplanned expenses. Deciding on a percentage of your income that you will consistently transfer into this savings account is difficult, I gotta say. It could be 10%, it could be 20%, it could be whatever amount feels comfortable, yet substantial enough for you to grow over time. The goal here is to build a reserve that can cover several months of expenses in case of a shitstorm, basically. I'm not going to tell you percentages right now because it absolutely depends on your business. If you have employees, if you need to buy inventory, if you have a place that you rent, it all depends on stuff like that. For me, it would be easy. I work from home. I have my laptop. So I have a little fund that covers basic things like that. If my kid drops a glass of water over my laptop right now, what am I going to do? I've got my savings potje to help me with stuff like that. It's really up to you to determine how much goes into this. The thing that's really important here of this system of using sub-accounts is that you put money in and you don't take it out, because otherwise you're going to just be moving money around and that's going to create not a lot of confidence and a lot of confusion. So please pick a percentage that feels right for you to put in there and to let it stay in there. And, if you have nothing right now, you can always say, I'm going to start off with 20% of my income goes into a savings account. And in a couple of months or in a year or something, you have an amount in there that feels comfortable for you to have as an emergency net. Then you can always lesser the percentage. If you decide the percentages that you decide right now are not tapped into stone, you can always change it. Next up, the retirement account. It's crucial for you to start thinking about your future if you're an entrepreneur. I hope that you already did this and this is no news for you. It's very nice to ensure that you have enough funds to live off comfortably once you decide to step back from active work. I don't ever see myself step back from active work right now, and that's really nice to have energy like that. But talk to me again in 30 years and I'll be nearing 70 and I'll be going, maybe I want to work less. So you want to allocate a percentage of your income to a retirement account. Preferably, you're going to be investing this money. I am not one to give you investing advice whatsoever. The only thing that I'm going to advise you on is the earlier you start, the more you will benefit from the power of compound interest. So please do this. I recently heard a tip that I really liked as well is if you're not yet familiar with investing your money, Invest money that you don't actively need. Seems like a basic thing to say. And in order for you to accomplish that, the tip was put money in a savings account and don't touch it, as I said before, but really don't touch it because it makes you comfortable with the feeling that there is money that is yours, but that you can't touch and that you could possibly lose. And I found it a very nice tip. So put your money in a retirement sub account for a year to feel how it feels. And then after that year, invest what you've accumulated in this sub account. Okay, the last one I'm going to separately talk about is profits. Because, it's the profit first methodology, which means that we should have talked about this first. But hey, who is counting? The fun, this is where the fun comes in. You should pay yourself first. That's basically what it comes down to. This means setting aside a certain percentage of your revenue as profit before you cover any expenses. And this might feel super counterintuitive, but it's a very powerful way to ensure your business remains profitable and that you are rewarded for your hard work. You got to have some fun with the money that you are generating in your business. It's good to reinvest in your business. It's super good to be prepared in case of shitstorms. It's good to be prepared for your taxes. It's good to be prepared for your retirement. But it's also, I think the most important thing is that it's very good to have fun as an entrepreneur. If you're just generating money and you're not putting anything aside for yourself, then where is the fun in that? And I'm not talking about your salary here. Your salary is also just a way to pay out yourself and cover private costs. It's a way to cover costs. So this is not salary, this is profit. And if this feels uncomfortable for you to have a sub account dedicated to profit, you can always start with putting a goal on it. In the past, I've wanted to have, I have these Bose headphones, noise canceling. I've had them so long that I actually need new ones by now. And they were like 400 euros back then. I don't even remember, but it was something like that. It's not an amount that I was at the time comfortable just spending as an expense. Just say, oh, I'm going to buy this for me for when I work. So it really felt like a treat to myself to buy them. And I put money into my profit piggy bank for a while. And at one point I had them. And it still to this day makes me happy to use these headphones because I knew that I saved up for them and that I bought them as a gift for myself. I really didn't need them, but it was nice to have them. And it was fun. And that feeling is still with me. So, that's very important in the entrepreneurial business world to have fun, please. So think about that and see what you can come up with for your own profits. Okay, next up is a subject that I'm still actively working on. I got a feeling that many people are actively working on this and not always with great success. It is find any limiting beliefs you have regarding money. Become aware of the way you think about money. I think it's a very critical but overlooked aspect of financial confidence. It's identifying where you have these limiting beliefs and then actively overcoming them as well. Limiting beliefs, for those of you who are unknown with the term, these are subconscious beliefs that can hold you back from achieving whatever, in this case, financial success. So it's very essential to become aware of them and to actively work towards changing them. The first step in overcoming limiting beliefs is to become aware of them. And this is very tricky because this is they're hidden. If you were aware of them, you would have changed them by now. So that's what makes this so difficult, is that most people, I dare to say, have limiting beliefs about things, in this case, money. But if they would have been out in plain sight, you imagine a rock lying on the road, you would trip over it and you would just go, oh, what's this rock doing here? And you would throw it away. However, if there's a rock lying on the side of the road and you are walking on the road, you would pass it by without even noticing it. So in this case, your limiting belief is the rock lying on the side of the road. It's there, it's just that you're not noticing it. So you have to become aware of them first. Many of us carry subconscious thoughts about money, and they were usually formed during our youth, during our upbringing, or through societal influences. And these beliefs can significantly impact how we handle our finances. So you gotta take some time to reflect on your thoughts about money. I advise you to do this in the weekly or monthly date that you have with your finances, because you can feel in your body where you're being triggered when you look at your money. Are you looking at your expenses and feeling uncomfortable? Are you looking at your income and feeling uncomfortable? Is just the fact that you are going to look at your money making you feel uncomfortable? Find out where it triggers you. Do you see it as something positive, something negative? Do you believe you deserve financial success? That's basically what it boils down to. So, whenever this feeling pops up, you recognize it and then you tell yourself that it's okay for you to make money. This is very simple. There are people out there who kill it on how to overcome limiting beliefs. So this is very basics. Just, if it's something that you'd be interested to learn more about, just let me know, and then I can see if I can find a kick-ass female entrepreneur who is deep on limiting beliefs and to come on the podcast and talk to you about it. In overcoming limiting beliefs is to surround yourself with positive influences. And this can be a lot. You engage with people, books, podcasts, any resource that promotes a healthy and positive attitude towards money. Learning from those who already have a constructive relationship with money, that can help you shift your mindset enormously. The moment that you are surrounding yourself with positive influences about this, it's going to be very helpful. Affirmations, visualizations you're going to use positive affirmations and visualization techniques to reinforce your new beliefs that you have. So every time you feel triggered, you can just block it out and say, no, I actually deserve financial success, or wealth enables me to make a positive impact. So shut up, ego, about giving me these feelings. This can really help you program your subconscious mind, reprogram. If you have true problems coming out from this, then of course you got to seek professional help. If you find it really challenging to overcome deeply ingrained beliefs, you can consider seeking help in any place you want, because currently out there are so many people. Any limiting belief that you might have, there will be a coach or a therapist who specializes in that. So in this case, money mindset. They can provide personalized strategies for you and support you to help transform your relationship with money. So the client I mentioned earlier with the debt history, I've advised them to do this as well. I can only help them so far. This has been really traumatic for them, and they're taking it into the future with them. So I said, you need help. Okay, so I said that I would come back to this before, and this is about the positive influences that you have in your life. It's really important, I think, to find great examples of people who you admire that already are financially confident. So for me, and this is for the Dutchies. If you're English speaking, this is not going to help you enormously, I think. Her name is Celine Charlotte. She is a Dutch entrepreneur, and I've been following her for years and years and years. And what I really love about her is that she is unapologetically rich, especially as seen through a frugal Dutch vision, because the Dutch, we're known to be frugal people. Basically, our entire people's motto is just act normal. That's crazy enough as it is. And there is Celine Charlotte, who has built her business from the ground up. She has amazing ideas. I love her. I'm going to try to see if I can get her on a podcast. It would be really nice. And she's currently living in the United States, in New York to be precise. And prices in the United States in general, and New York specifically, are not to be compared with the pricing in Holland of everything. And I love that she's just openly sharing how much everything costs. And our Dutch minds are blown every time she says, oh, I'm just going to get a haircut and it's costing me $400. And people are just going, what? That's wild. For me, it's really helping me to see her talk about money that open, and also like she knows what she earns and she knows what she can spend. She's very confident about her money and very efficient with her time. And So it's really fun to just look at her go. She's doing most of her Instagram in Dutch, so it might not be very useful, but I'll link her profile nonetheless. Then the second one that's been helping me a lot is Tori Dunlap. Her Instagram handle is her first 100K. She's putting everything out in the open. She's stimulating women to invest, giving courses on investment, on retirement funds. She is basically saying females have been suffering under male dominance about finance for way too long, and that needs to change. So she's really awesome as well. And she's also very openly talking about how she is making her money, how she's spending her money, where she's gaining financial advantages. Really cool to see. And then for me at least, there's also, of course, the opposite. You have people who you admire and who are financially confident. And then there are people who are making me feel icky. For me, it's important to, this will be personal, but for me, it's important to avoid rich people who are mysterious about their money. And I'm not talking about very successful entrepreneurs, because you can just sort of see they have this lifestyle because they have this very successful business. That's not mysterious. But one of my sort of failed businesses, I'll go into that in another episode, is blogging, is interior blogging. And there are some interior bloggers that I follow. And from what they do and from what they post, you can just see that they have money to spare, like money. Everything they have, they wear, they do, it just screams money. I'm not even envious about that. The fact that they have money is not making me feel uncomfortable, but it just doesn't align with the way that they're acting. Budget this, budget that. And that, I know that doesn't make sense, because, if you budget this and you budget that, then yes, you'll save money, and then in the end you'll get richer. But it's sort of like they have enough money to outsource the work they're doing on their home, on entire companies and crews, etc. And that's what they're doing, and then yet they're posting it like they did it themselves, like DIY your kitchen. And you just look at that kitchen and you just know it's not DIY in the slightest, and that feels not in alignment for me. So for me, it's alignment between what you do and what you have. Rich people who act rich, that's fine. Rich people who act like they're on a tight budget for the sake of attracting a certain niche, that feels out of alignment for me. As I said, this is personal. This will be very specific for you. But if you're on Instagram, look at accounts that you are following and actively wonder how they make you feel. If they're making you feel uncomfortable, you gotta just unfollow them immediately. It's as simple as that. Okay, last tip I have for you is, well, as for me, it's basically with everything that I've said here, it's very clear, but it's also things that get pushed to the back of your mind. The last tip I have for you is to practice gratefulness. Always, always gratefulness. Gratefulness is just the currency of our universe. Be grateful for what you have. Be grateful for the lessons that you've learned by not having. Be grateful for investments that you've made for your business. Be grateful you're setting apart money to save up for an investment. Be grateful that you're giving profit to yourself to have fun with your business as well. It's very easy to just go on these weekly or monthly money dates with yourself and very dryly look at the numbers, look at what's coming in, what's going out, but also make gratitude a part of that money date, because it will help you immensely. And when you feel one of those limiting beliefs coming up, be grateful that you have it, because then you can work on it and turn it into something positive. Gratefulness all over the place. If more people would do that, the world would be a much better place, I think. So yeah, those are my tips that I have for you to create better financial confidence. First of all, get up and close and intimate with your finances. Second, determine your value and act on it. Thirdly, actively work towards your financial goals, preferably put your profit first. Fourth, find any limiting beliefs that you have regarding money and try to clear them, turn them around so they can actually work in your favor. A fifth tip, find a great example of people that you admire who are financially confident. And then the sixth one is the gratefulness that I just talked to you about. If you're interested in becoming more financial confident, I have created you can print it, but it's currently in PDF. I'm not going to send it to you via post, but via email. And they are journaling prompts to create financial confidence without being good at finance. I've gone through them all, obviously. But if I'm sort of lacking in an area in my finances where I'm not feeling as good as I should be feeling, want to be feeling, I can always come back to these journaling prompts and then mull it over while I write. That's basically what they're meant to do, to make you think about your financial confidence. And I always find that while you write stuff out in journaling like that with the journaling prompt, you're not just going, hey, dear diary, today I did my finances. No, I'm going to be asking you a question and you're going to write the answer. While you write, more clarity will come, and eventually the clarity will give you more financial confidence. I'm sure of that. So link to that in the show notes as well, of course. Thank you so much for tuning in today, and I hope you are, well, maybe not leaving this episode feeling more confident, but maybe in a month's time, if you've practiced all these tips, you are feeling better about your confidence. Maybe as well. Feeling better about your finances is what I wanted to say. All right. Have a lovely day, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Female Entrepreneurs Network podcast. I hope you loved what you heard today. And if you did, it would mean a world to me if you could leave a review. Because believe it or not, reviews on podcasts are actually still used to make sure more people get to see this podcast in their screens and maybe click on it and learn something as well. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye bye.